Welcome to another episode of the James Nolan podcast. We are live on YouTube and X. You can join me on either one. And let's get right into it. We got a lot of good news in the world of New York sports today. First off, you see the Knicks jersey. I got to throw it up a little bit because the computer's blocking it. But the Knicks, man, they clinch the freaking 2 seed, second best team in the Eastern Conference. It's going to be an interesting postseason. It looks like the Knicks will be facing the winner of the play-in. That is going to be between the 76ers and the Miami Heat. So we can't get too excited just yet because we lost to the Miami Heat last year in the second round of the postseason. And we all know with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, anything can happen for the Philadelphia 76ers. As great as the Knicks are, it's going to be a tough first round, no matter who we play, whether it's the Heat or the Sixers. So we're going to be talking about that and Jalen Brunson MVP consideration after averaging over 28 a night this season. He's been fantastic all year. So we're going to be talking some MVP as well. And then we're going to lead the show with some Yankees and Mets today. You see the title, Francisco Lindor, Anthony Volpe. It's kind of off to polar opposite starts, but I think the interesting thing is Anthony Volpe. Is he entering the conversation as a top shortstop in the league with the guys like Francisco Lindor, Corey Seager, Bo Bichette? He's playing great this year, great start. So we're going to be talking about Volpe's hot start and Lindor's cold start because a lot of fans are starting to get concerned. And I see, yes, you should be a little concerned because he's a great player. This is not anything you would expect out of Lindor. But at the same time, it's 7-8. So what's that? 15 games in. We're 15 games in. So I think some fans need to take a step back. I think some fans still need to kind of worry a little bit. So I'm meeting in the middle with those guys. Now, the guys calling him out personally and taking personal shots, that's outrageous. That's stupid. Now, his numbers, they suck. But Lindor, still, he's our leader. He's the leader. You see what he did with Brett Beatty in the offseason. And I'm not saying he's the reason Brett Beatty's playing great. You still got to give credit to Beatty there, too. But Lindor helped him defensively, so you got to give him credit there. He's taking leadership. So there's things that Lindor is doing great, even though his numbers don't say so. And I think his numbers are going to improve. And then that's the same thing with Aaron Judge, too. He's hitting in the low 200s right now. A lot of people are concerned about him, but he's on a 3-game hitting streak. Things are trending upwards for him and Lindor. So we're going to be kind of defending both those guys, both stars in New York. But we're also going to be talking Volpe and the other young guy, Brett Beatty, for the Mets. So let's kick it right off with some Yankees. What's up, Joey? Yeah, how we doing? Thank you for coming by, Joey. The Anthony Volpe's playing great. Shout out Joey LaRusso. But yeah, we're going to be talking some Yankees right away. Anthony Volpe will put it right up. His numbers so far to start the year are just eye-popping. 382 batting average, 477 on-base percentage, OPS over 1,000, already 5 stolen bases on the year in less than 15 games played out of him. So when you look at Volpe this year, you're looking at a guy that every Yankees fan thought they were getting when he got called up his rookie year. That's what they thought they were getting. So now you get this guy who's got 8 RBIs in 15 games, 4 doubles in 15 games, 2 home runs in 15 games, 21 hits in 15 games. Now, I don't expect him to hit 380 all year, but maybe he's going to hit above 300. Who knows? When he didn't really play a lot in AAA, but when he was with AA, he was really good. He was the number 1 prospect for the Yankees for a reason. So when you see Volpe playing this good, it's got to excite you, because he could join Juan Soto and Aaron Judge as an all-star this year. And Aaron Judge will get going. We're going to be talking about that soon. But Soto's off to a great start. Judge, kind of not, but 3-game hitting streak. But Volpe, if he enters the star crew on the Yankees, at least on the offensive side, the Yankees lineup just gets that much better. And that's why the Yankees are 12-4, the best team in baseball right now. It's because they got Volpe and Soto. Even with Judge not performing, they're still the best team in baseball. So that's scary. Now, when Judge does get going, they're going to really take off, because their pitching has also been great all year. We're going to be talking about that too. Second best rotation in baseball right now, at least in ERA terms. And pitching is all about not giving up runs. Second best team this year so far at not giving up runs. So Yankees are doing it in all areas right now. And a big part of that is Anthony Volpe. Obviously, he's a Gold Glove defender. But if he's hitting like this all year long, and like I said before, don't expect him to hit 380, obviously. I don't think anybody does. But above 300, if he can get another 20-plus home run year, if he can give you 20-plus, 25-plus stolen bases, I mean, that's exactly what this lineup needs. They need a dynamic hitter. And Volpe, if he becomes that dynamic hitter like he's showing he is in the first 15 games, then he's going to be an all-star and he's going to be right there with Soto and Judge. Now, Soto and Judge, I think Judge is on another level than Soto, and I think Soto's on another level than Volpe. But Volpe, those guys are obviously superstars. If Volpe could just be an all-star, that's exactly what you need. And now Giancarlo Stanton, we're going to be talking about him in a little bit too, but he's also not doing too bad. He's striking out a lot, but still he's providing power. Those are his stats right there. But I still want to stay on Volpe because Stanton was supposed to be the superstar guy. You know, you trade for him after he wins the MVP with the Miami Marlins. But Volpe, I'm not saying he's going to be an MVP, but the Yankees have desperately not just needed another guy for Judge to help out Judge when he's slacking, because right now Soto's picking up his slack, but Volpe also. Now, if you have two out of those three guys performing at points in the season, Yankees are fine. They're going to remain this best team in baseball. We saw in 2022, the first half of the year, they were amazing. Best team in baseball, right? And then the second half, they kind of died down. But that's because outside of Aaron Judge, they didn't really have anybody to pick up the slack when he was slacking. And he didn't slack in 2022 at all. But they still needed more than just Aaron Judge. That's why you go out there and you get a Juan Soto. But also, now you got a guy like Anthony Volpe stepping it up, becoming a factor. The Yankees now have three legitimate factors. And Stan and Rizzo, they're not playing too bad. I still want to see a little bit more on the power side out of Rizzo. His batting average is up, but only one home run, OPS well low in the 700s. You need him to have an OPS well high in the 700s, low 800s. That's what you want out of Rizzo. Now, him getting on base, that's great, but he's not a speedster. He's not getting to second, you know? But Stanton, you got to like what you've seen out of him because nobody expects him to be the MVP he was with the Marlins anymore. He's aged. Obviously, even Brian Cashman said over the offseason, injury prone. So if he's healthy, that's a plus right there. That's a plus. But at the same time, if he's healthy and he's hitting like he did last year, you don't even want him in the lineup. But right now, what he's doing, he's just hitting power. He's hitting home runs. That's what you want. 4 home runs in 15 games. That's pretty good. That's really good. What's that? Like 8 home runs a month? There you go. Right there. Mathematician right here. But yeah, Stanton, he's provided, and that's exactly what you want out of him. So you're getting what you want you're getting more than what you want out of Volpe. You're getting what you want out of Stanton. You're getting what you want out of Soto. You're not getting what you want out of Judge, and you're still the best team in baseball. So when Judge gets it going, it's going. It's going to get going. But Juan Soto, I mean, it's exactly what you expect. 344 batting average. That's going to dip down as the season goes on, obviously, but he's going to be a guy hitting above 290. He's going to give you 30 plus home runs, and he's going to rake up the RBIs in this lineup at least, especially if Volpe's hitting leadoff consistently. If Volpe's hitting leadoff consistently, and he's putting up, well, one, if he's hitting leadoff consistently, that means he's playing consistent because they're going to move him down in the order if he plays like he does last year. So if Volpe stays in the top of the lineup all year, that's a lot of runs potentially being able to be driven in by Soto and Judge and even Stanton and Rizzo. But you're loving what you're seeing out of Soto, but I want to get on Judge for a little bit. Right now, Judge hitting 207, still an OPS over 800 though, which is insane. That's a down number for him, OPS over 800. But he definitely needs to bring that batting average up. I mean, his on base percentage so far is 373, so that's a good sign. At least he's still getting on base. And the batting average will come up. It will come up. He's the best hitter in baseball when he's healthy. He is. I think, like I said before, when you're the best team in baseball and the best hitter on your team is underperforming, I think that's a great sign. That's a great sign. And that's the same thing for the Mets because Lindor is going to get going too. Now, I don't think Lindor is anywhere near Judge. Like I said, I don't think anybody is anywhere near Judge. I think he was forgotten about last year because he got hurt for the majority of the year. I mean, it's like, oh, Tani's the best hitter. Soto's the best hitter. Ronald Acuna's the best hitter. No, it's Aaron Judge. What he did in 2022 proved that. What he did in 2020, his whole entire career, he's been a superstar hitter. He broke the rookie home run record, and then Pete Alonso took it for him because the baseballs were inflated. And that's me as a Mets fan saying that. Alonso hit 53 home runs in his rookie year. Judge hit 52. And 2019 is when Alonso broke that record. Gleyber Torres hit like over 30 home runs that year. Baseballs were inflated that year. I would love to give Alonso his credit, but it's still awesome, him hitting over 50 home runs. But Judge, he broke it before the baseballs were inflated. And then in 2022, he hit 62 home runs. So this guy is and he hit over 300 and had a OPS well over 1,000. He's the best hitter in baseball. best hitter in baseball when healthy. So when he gets going, the Yankees are really going to get going. And are the Yankees the best team in baseball right now? I think they are because their lineup says so. Their pitching, even without Garrett Cole, has been great. And part of that reason is now Carlos Rodon. If he can do this consistently, his first start sucked. It didn't even suck. His first start wasn't even that bad, but he definitely got beat up a little bit. But in his last start, 6 innings pitched, he did give up 2 runs, but they weren't earned, and 6 Ks. That's exactly what you want out of a guy you gave $160 million to an offseason ago. So if he can be what he was with the Giants for that 2-year period, that's why the Yankees signed him to a 5 or 6-year, $150 million deal. They gave him all that money because they wanted him to be the second ace behind Garrett Cole. And with Garrett Cole out, they need someone to step up. And that guy, it's Stroman. His first 2 starts did great, and maybe Nestor Cortez, even though he sucked. But Rodon is the guy that they brought in here to be a second ace. And he's pitched like it in his second start. He needs to do that consistently now. So that's what you want out of him. And then Stroman, his last start, wasn't that great. But, what do you expect out of him? You expect him to be a middle of the rotation guy. And so far, he's pitched like a middle of the rotation guy. So you're getting, I think, what you expect out of Stroman. Rodon, you need more. You need more. That last start was great, but it's got to keep going. Nestor Cortez, you kind of got to be worried about a little bit, I think, because he is struggling. He's been giving up a lot of earned runs. His ERA is ballooned. And he's another guy. Just last night he gives up 4 earned runs, only 6 strikeouts in 4 innings. That's a good number actually, but 2 home runs given up. That's not good. And he's a guy who's not a strikeout pitcher. He's not a power pitcher. He's a guy who's gonna need the guys to put the ball in play to get outs. Against the Marlins, he dominated. 8 innings, 2 hits allowed, no earned runs. That was great. But other than that, 4 earned runs against Cleveland, 3 earned runs against Arizona, and then against Houston, 4 earned runs. So he's given up over 3 runs in 3 out of his 4 starts. He's got to get going. But, overall, though, Yankees are fine. So if Cortez does get going, and if Judge gets going, then this team will really take off because they already got the second best rotation in baseball. Their lineup is showing that they potentially have the best lineup. Like I said before in the offseason, a lot of people were talking about the Los Angeles Dodgers, but do not sleep on this Yankees baseball team. I picked them to win the World Series at the beginning of the year, and I'm still going to take them. So, yeah. And that's me as a Mets fan saying that. I think the Yankees are that good, and I think they have the potential to get even better. And they're already the best team in baseball right now. So, but yeah, like I said, we talked about Anthony Volpe a little bit earlier, and he's kind of entering that conversation as a top shortstop in baseball. And someone who's a top shortstop in baseball, who's obviously on the topic of every Mets fan's mind, is Francisco Lindor. And he's struggling. Yes, batting average terrible. 430 OPS terrible. Only 1 home run so far. That's not good. That's not what you expect out of a guy who went 30-30 last year. But at the same time, same case with Judge. Now the Mets, they've been heating up. They've won their last 5 out of 7 games. They have another game tonight against the Kansas City Royals. So they should be able to get another. Actually, the Pirates they're playing. And the Pirates are off to a good start, 11-5. So it's Martin Perez going up against us, crafty veteran. Had a decent year last year. And Adrian Hauser, who had a pretty good start, actually, in his 2 starts ago against Detroit, but the Tigers suck. In Atlanta, he got beat up. He was the one loss we had in Atlanta. But maybe he can rebound a little bit against these Pirates at home. So hopefully the Mets can get going. And one guy who we do need to get going is Francisco Lindor. And when you look at Lindor's numbers, obviously, it's not good. It is not good. But at the same time, Mets are heating up. And Lindor, his last game just yesterday, 2 for 4, so that's good. That's good. And then he was on a 3-game hitting streak before he went 0 for 4 against Kansas City in game 2 of that series. In Atlanta, he gets a hit. In Atlanta in the last two games of that series, he goes 1 for 5 and 1 for 6. So not great, but he does need to get going. And that's the fact of the matter. And you got to expect him to get going because he's talented. He's got I took him as I was talking about him as an MVP candidate in the offseason because of what he did last year. And in the second half of last year, he was putting up MVP like numbers. We know he can do it. And that's what I think frustrates a lot of Mets fans is they know Francisco Lindor is a top 5 shortstop in the league. And when he's not playing like a top 5 shortstop in the league, it pisses off some fans. I don't think it should piss off fans to the point where they are like, oh, boo, Lindor, he sucks. He's the worst shortstop in baseball. No, because when he does good, those same fans are going to be like, oh, he's a top 5, top 3 shortstop in baseball. So I think Lindor is still a top 3, top 5 shortstop in baseball. I think he will get going and I think he will return. He just needs to get comfortable. And with this homestand coming up, I think that's exactly what he needs. Beat up on a guy like Martin Perez. Yeah, he's put up good numbers last year, and so far he's done pretty good. 1-0 on the year, 1.9 ERA. But it's not like he's an ace. He's a guy that Lindor can beat up. So I'm hoping that he can beat him up. And he's a lefty, which means Lindor will be batting from the right side tonight. We all know he's a beast on the right side. So hopefully Lindor can beat him up. But a guy who's doing good this year, and we need him to go good. We need him to play really good because we want him to come back in the offseason. That's Pete Alonso, and he's really heating up now. And that's exactly what you expect out of a guy like Pete Alonso. And with that batting average over 270 now, hopefully he can keep it above 270, 260 all year. And the 951 OPS, that's a really good OPS, especially for him. He's a guy who usually has 800 to 900. Already 6 home runs, 10 RBIs. So he's having a great start. I think the lead leader in home runs right now only has 7. So Pete Alonso's off to a great start. He's really heating up now. So what did he do last night? Let's see. He didn't really actually do that great last night. But yeah, Alonso 0 for 2, gets on base twice, so with 2 walks. But game 1 in Kansas City, 2 home runs, 3 for 3. And even against Atlanta, he was raking 2 for 4 in game 3, 2 for 4 in game 2. So yeah. And then he hits a home run in game 2 as well. Pete Alonso's given everything you want. I mean, batting average over 270. I mean, we all want him 240, 260 realistically. Like, I think that's a real take. But when he's hitting over 270, that's a great sign. He's hitting the ball all over the yard. Home runs are coming in. RBIs are coming in. Hitting with runners in scoring position. Great sign. Another guy who's having a great year for the Mets so far is Brett Baty. Comes in as a pinch hitter yesterday and gets another hit. Batting average well over 300, 315, 750 OPS. I mean, he had some pop in the minors, and he just still does have pop, but I don't think he's going to be a guy who's hitting over 25, 30 home runs, especially this year. But if he's giving you these numbers all year, that's perfect. That's really good. So I love what Brett Baty's been doing. Is it sustainable? I don't know because last year he wasn't that great. But he was working hard in the offseason. We know that. We saw the videos with Lindor on the defensive side, and we've seen the defense kind of take a step forward this year already. And offensively, he's taken a major step forward. And if he's giving you these numbers, if he can keep that batting average above 285, I'd say that's what you want. I mean, he's not going to, like I said before, he's not going to give you 25, 30 home runs. So he can't be a guy hitting 240, 250, 260. He's got to hit like 280 up. And with this, I'm gaining confidence more and more every day when Baty steps up to the plate. He's got a great swing. People are saying he tweaked it in the offseason. And, videos do show that he did tweak his swing. I'm not going to say that I'm a baseball coaching expert and tell you exactly and break down his swing. People say he trains his swing, and the numbers show it. So that's that. Brett Baty, is it sustainable? More and more each day, I think it is. Francisco Lindor is slowing down. Should we be worried? I don't know. He started off the year hot. Let's go over his numbers right now. He's only got a home run so far in 12 games. 267 batting average, so it's not too shabby. 720 OPS, but he's a guy just a few weeks ago who had a batting average of 379 when he was in the Cincinnati series. So he was getting off to a great start. It's slowing down a little bit, but I don't think we should be worried. I mean, we saw it last year. He has up and down flows. Maybe he can kind of have less down flows this year and more up flows, and he's going to give you some pop. He's not going to be a 300 hitter. He's going to be a 260, 270, 280 would be great, but that's what he's going to give you, and he's going to give you 30-plus home runs this year. I still think Francisco Alvarez can hit 30-plus home runs this year, but Starlin Marte hitting in the 2-hole, again like he did in 2022 when we won 100 games. I saw Eddie Presley talking about it last week on Mets Morning Brew or Mets Evening Brew. He's talking about it, how Starlin Marte was kind of the X factor for the Mets in 2022 because Mets were playing great when they had him. He goes down, and that's when the Mets kind of started to go down. He was a great guy to have in that 2-hole, hitting behind Brandon Nimmo, who's heating up too as well. Nimmo with an on-base percentage of .382 this year. That's the old Brandon Nimmo. That's the Brandon Nimmo that we need. I'd love to see Brandon Nimmo hit 25, 30 home runs, but at the same time, I want him to be the guy he was in 2022, where he got on base, worked the counts, fought off tough pitches, and he had that batting average up, had that on-base percentage up. His OPS is still going to be over 800. He's that good of a player. He's still got pop, but I want him to spray the ball over the yard and get on base. And then Starlin Marte, he's doing what he did in 2022. 279 batting average, on-base percentage, not too crazy, but 346, that's really good. That's impressive. He's not going to give you 20, 30 home runs. He's not. But if he can get on base, if he can get hits, if he can get on base for Lindor, for Alonso, even for Francisco Alvarez once he gets going again, that's big. That's why you want Starlin Marte in that lineup. You don't want him in the lineup hitting the bottom of the order. You don't. Starlin Marte at the bottom of the order sucks because that means he sucks, and that means he's not playing good, straight up. If he stays in the 2-hole like Anthony Volpe, if Anthony Volpe stays in the 1-hole, that means he's playing good. If Starlin Marte stays in the 2-hole all year, that's going to be a great sign for the Mets. Because like in 2022, when he was good, the Mets were good. When he goes down, the Mets went down. Starlin Marte and Edwin Diaz, in my opinion, are the two most important Mets this year. Two most important Mets. Because if they're healthy, if they have consistent numbers, Mets are set. Mets are set. So, like I mentioned, Diaz gave up his first run of 2024 yesterday, but he still got his third save of the year. Only one hit allowed, and that was a home run. I mean, I'm not worried. Ball's going to fly off the bat hard sometimes. If you make good contact on Diaz, he's throwing hard. He's throwing 98 to 101. And with a wicked slider, that touches even 94, 93. So if you make contact with one on Diaz, you're going to take it pretty far. I mean, that's just the way science works. So I'm not worried. I mean, the guy's given up 1 earned run so far in 6 games, 9 strikeouts in 6 games, 3 saves. Not a single blown save yet either. How many hits has he let up? 2 hits. 2 hits in 6 games. So Diaz is fine. Also, I put this in here too because Harrison Bader is hitting 302. I just want to point it out. I mean, we didn't sign him to be an all-star. We didn't sign him to hit above 300. We signed him to play defense and hit like 240 and steal some bases. So, but are the Mets in a good spot? I mean, yeah, 7-8 with the chance to go 500 today and take it up from there. I think they do. Now, the key for the Mets, get to the deadline at 500 or above because then you can make a trade. This team's not going to win the division. They're not. The Braves and the Phillies are that much better. But they have a shot at the wild card. And they need to stay above 500 to make a trade acquisition that could help them get to the playoffs. So stay above 500, and that starts tonight. And going into this series against the Pirates, I mean, I'm looking at Adrian Hauser to bounce back. And then tomorrow we got who we got tomorrow? Jose Quintana, who had a pretty good start his last time. And then Severino. Severino had actually a really good start last time. Sevy put up some good numbers in his last start, and he needed it since his first start. He sucked. But 5 innings, only 1 hit allowed, 1 earned run, and it was a home run. 4 walks, so we do need to see the walks die down a little bit, obviously, but 4 strikeouts in those 5 innings. So, Sevy, I like what I saw. And against the Pirates, who are off to a good start, but they're the Pirates. Mets need to take advantage of this. They need to take advantage of this. Right now, they're doing pretty good in the pitching aspect of things. 7th in all of MLB in ERA with a 3.51. Pirates are actually 6th in ERA with 3.48. So hopefully we can take that step forward above them, and that starts tonight. So let's go Mets. Adrian Hauser on the mound. Got to see a good one out of him. Got to see a good one. And Doc Gooden, I got to put it up here. Finally in the Mets Hall of Fame. They retired his number yesterday. Good to see the Mets showing appreciation to guys who put up these numbers. And obviously a big part of that 1986 World Series. Won a Cy Young with the Mets. And where does Doc Gooden, this poses this question for me. In my opinion, I think Doc Gooden's a top 3 pitcher all time. And I think it's, since he got that World Series, I'd put him 2. I'd put Seaver 1, and I'd put DeGrom 3. I think Seaver just had better numbers than Doc consistently. I mean, you look at Seaver's numbers, he was a freaking animal. And then Doc Gooden, obviously, I put him over DeGrom because he has that World Series. DeGrom pitched in a World Series, and he let up 4 runs against the Royals. So he had a shot to kind of turn things around that series for the Mets. We saw Syndergaard kind of turn things around for the Mets in that series. Harvey, maybe if he came out in the 9th inning and we put Familia in, maybe that sets it up better for the Mets. So, he had a shot at it. I can't say DeGrom, his team sucked in 2018, 2019, 2020. They did, but he also had a shot. So that's why I do put Doc above DeGrom, even though DeGrom's numbers in his prime, I mean, you could put him up there. You could say he had the best Mets numbers. He had the best season as a Mets pitcher. I mean, 2018 and 2019, DeGrom was unhittable. Even 2021, his first 16 starts, and then he went down. But he had a 1.07 ERA. DeGrom was nuts. But at the same time, he didn't win a ring, and he had a shot in 2015. And he let up 4 runs in a World Series game. Yeah, he had a great run in the postseason overall. But when the light shined brightest, he didn't shine brightest. So, yep, that's my take on it. What's up, Yuki? How we doing? All right, but you also see, at least in the Twitter title, we're talking Knicks today. They clinched the 2 seed after getting a 50-win season. So that's big. And without Julius Randle for the majority of the year. That's another big factor too. And I'll put it up right now. Knicks record without Julius Randle this year was 21-15. With Julius Randle, they were actually much better, 29-17. But the Knicks, they get that 2 seed. West is dominant, but the Eastern Conference, not as dominant this year. Knicks took advantage of that. They get the 2 seed, so they're set up to face the winner of the play-in game between the 76ers and the Miami Heat. So it's still going to be a tough first-round battle because we don't have Julius Randle. But at the same time, OG Anunoby will be guarding the best player, whoever we face, as long as he stays healthy. But OG Anunoby, he's going to take that defensive role for the Knicks. With Hartenstein and Mitch, if Mitch stays healthy, that's a big factor. Because if Mitch stays healthy, the combination of Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson, that's huge. That's a big playoff factor for the Knicks right there. Having 2 centers that are they have very different play styles, but when you combine them, it's perfect. So one guy who also I think we need big time in this Knicks playoff round is Dante DiVincenzo. Obviously, Jalen Brunson, we're going to need, but I expect him to show up based off what he did with the Mavs and what he did with the Knicks last year. He will show up. But Dante DiVincenzo has been playing great over his last 40 games, and that's a big stretch. That's a long stretch, over 20 a night. But we need to see this number actually increase. We need to see him score between 23 and 25, me personally, because we need offense. Our defense, I am confident in with guys like Josh Hart, even guys like DiVincenzo, Hartenstein, Mitch, OG Anunoby, Miles McBride off the bench. Defense, I'm not too worried about. I'm not. And a coach like Tom Thibodeau, who's made now 3 postseasons in 4 years with the Knicks, that's pretty good. Got to give him some credit there. But DiVincenzo's a guy that the Knicks really need to step up. Let's see what we got. Johan Santana at 3. That's bold. But back to the Knicks, though, real quick. DiVincenzo is a guy that the Knicks do need to step up. And I think he could. He had a good game last night, too, when they beat the Bulls. Jalen Brunson, another fantastic night, 40 points. But DiVincenzo made 5 threes out of 14 threes, 10 to 21 overall from the field on 25 points. 7 boards, too, getting up there on the boards. Overall this year, he finishes with in 81 games, too. That's big. 81 games. Only missed 1 game. 15.5 overall. Brought that number up, obviously, in the last 40. But, yeah, Knicks need him. Knicks need him. And then Jalen Brunson, let's cap off the show with a little Brunson MVP talk. You gotta give him credit. He's gotta be in the top 5, top 3 MVP talk right now. I mean, 28 points per game, almost 29, 28.7 to be exact. 6.7 assists per game, 40% from 3 this year, 47% overall from the field. Jalen Brunson deserves MVP consideration. Is he going to win the MVP? Likely not. I mean, my bias, if I did have a vote, I would vote with Jalen Brunson, and that's partially because I'm biased. But me personally, you take Jalen Brunson, this is my case for him. You take Jalen Brunson off the Knicks, that 50-win season turns to like between 30 and 40. Seriously. Brunson is that important for the Knicks. You take him off this team, who do they have? Who's going to score for them? Julius Randle's out. Even with Julius Randle, do the Knicks win this many games? Do they? So that's my case for Jalen Brunson winning the MVP. But yeah, that's that. Jalen Brunson, he deserves MVP consideration. And what he did for the Knicks is insane. I think you got to put him up there. If he continues this, if he plays out his contract and has another contract with the Knicks, he might be one of the best Knicks, if not the best Knicks of all time. But he's got to do something in the postseason. And even if we face the Sixers or the Heat, it will be a tough battle, but we still should come out on top. And in the second round, we probably won't, we're not going to be facing up against the Celtics. I think we got lucky. So we have a chance to get to the Eastern Conference Finals and maybe even a chance to go to the finals. I mean, the Eastern Conference, it's really the Celtics. The Celtics are the only team that the Knicks should be worried about. We can beat the Bucks. We can. I think defensively we match up well with them. I think if you stick, it's going to be tough. Giannis is going to be on another level in the postseason, obviously, but he always is. But I think we can battle with him. Brunson can go toe-to-toe with Dame offensively now. I mean, Dame in his prime, maybe not, but at this point in his career, I think Brunson can go toe-to-toe with Dame Lillard. I really think he could. So they can beat the Bucks. It's really the first round. If we make it out of this first round, I think we can get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think we could. So the Knicks are back, baby. Clinched that postseason spot for the third time in 4 seasons. This time it's the highest one of the 3. So it's big. It's big. Can they make the finals? I think they could. I really think they could. And that's because Jalen Brunson, obviously. But with the combination of Hartenstein and Mitch at the center, it offers a lot of defense in that paint, obviously. And then you got to factor in the way Dante's been shooting and just defensively, the Knicks. Let's look at where they finished this year, numbers-wise, as a team. Team stats, they're slow. 30th in pace, but that's not what we're talking about. First in offensive rebounds, and that's because Hartenstein and Mitch. Steals, not too good, but 17th in steals, 8th in turnovers, so they're not committing a lot of turnovers. 6th in offensive rating, 10th in defensive rating. 3-point field goal percentage, they're 10th. 3-point field goals overall. No, they're 10th in 3-point field goals overall. 3-point field goal percentage are actually 13th. 5th in rebounds, so they're just a rebounded team. That's what they do. Get up on the boards. Josh Hart, get up on the boards. So that's what we need. Same thing they've been doing all year. Play tough and hard defense and get Brunson on the ball. And if not, get DiVincenzo on the ball because he's probably going to be the second scoring option. So that's that. I'm wrapping it up. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm out of here. Let's go Mets tonight. Need a big win. Come on, Adrian Hauser. Yankees got Louis Gill on the mound for them. So Yankees, best team in baseball right now. Mets kind of heating up a little bit. They got to keep it going. Got to get over 500. It starts tonight. Get to 500 and then get over 500 in this series against the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's that. Let's go Knicks facing the winner of the Sixers and the Heat. So we'll see who that is by this time next week. We should know because play-in tournament starts tomorrow. So deuces, I'm out. Let's go Mets.